In a wire-to-wire victory, the Phoenix Suns snapped their losing streak in dominant fashion. Simply put, we needed that one, and we deserve to celebrate on the other side of this. Psychos and sickos unite for a, oh my god, we needed that one edition of the PHNX Suns post-game show, of course, brought to you right by our friends at Bet365, where winning is everything. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up today, and boy, is winning everything. I'm Eric, that's Gil. We got Espo and the freckled Mamba behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen as the Phoenix Suns, they did it.
It's over.
120-98. They won a damn basketball game, and they did it in dominant fashion. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, Espo.
Welcome into Kara, Ashley, Matthew, Papa Ruby. Hello, the whole crew in the chat. Glad to have you along with us. And you know what time it is. You know what we have to do. Ayrton, are you ready? Put the Toronto Raptors in the drawer. Put the tag on the toe and slam the drawer shut because the morgue has taken another victim.
Everybody take a deep breath.
We could let Gil talk too, you know.
I was
5 minutes in.
I was trying to think of like an extinct pun to go with there with the Raptors losing the way they did, and I just couldn't. It wasn't coming to me, so I was letting it breathe.
Yeah,
I had to let that breathe.
I had to welcome you in. We're 5
y'all?
minutes into the program.
I'm still proud of myself from when darkness turns to light. It ends tonight because it ended tonight.
Could have just walked away after that.
That was a mic drop moment right there.
Gil, what a win.
Great win, much needed win, wire to wire victory. A win that, I mean, you weren't favored to win this game. You were down 6 guys yet again, but this team responded to what happened last night. They are not in the business of excuses. We aren't either. And what happened was we said they needed their guys to be guys. It started with Devin Booker and Jalen Green. You got a lot of contributions from across the board. The others stepped up again. Colin Gillespie picked up where he left off. A lot of guys that we were going to shout out throughout this post-game show, but it was just good to see a complete team effort against a team who kind of came out flat, and you took advantage of that.
Do you know what an asteroid and the Phoenix Suns have in common?
They ended the Raptors.
Boom.
I think we are locked in right now.
I think Riddle puts it great in a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Riddle. Says, OMG, finally a bleeping win. Players that finally did what they were supposed to do, starting with Dunn, Oso, and Goodwin. We are back, guys. And Hello says, I hope nobody does the vibes are back thing when a game that we were supposed to win. The Suns were absolutely not supposed to win.
They're supposed to win.
No.
That's not what the chat was saying last night.
Nope.
It's like, oh man, we lost to the Bucks. No way we beat the Raptors because they are coming off of a day of rest, and you're going to be without 6 players. And this team
just lost to them.
Just lost to this team.
They were supposed to win last night. Tonight is a team, the Raptors were pretty much fully healthy, minus Colin Murray-Boyles, right? They came out there and they have won 3 of their last 4 games. Granted, they're coming off of a loss in Denver, and they present a lot of unique matchup challenges for the Suns. Now, I think that going into tonight, a lot of us agreed that it was like enough is enough. Right? Like if you're the Suns, you have to go out here and win this game. But I don't think any of us expected a wire-to-wire, at some point, 30-point victory. I know it's a little bit closer in that final score than 30 points, but once the bench is cleared, it was about a 30-point game. And the Suns were never in trouble there, minus a small little run by the Raptors at the beginning of the second quarter. This was not just a win. This was a dominant win, and that is important given how the Suns have been playing recently.
Well, yeah, we talked about yesterday how the others had stepped up and kind of carried the way, but Devin didn't carry his. Jalen did what he could, but that you needed both of those guys when you were down as many guys as they were, like you were saying. And tonight They stepped up in a big way. I mean, Jalen had 20 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, a block. Like, he did enough, like, and had enough juice on the offensive end to help carry things. Devin with the 25, with 6 assists, 3 rebounds. He came through, and then you look at it, and the bench had, if I did my math right, I believe 39 points tonight, and they came through as well. And Collins refound himself. Like, you go, okay, shorthanded, they made a statement. They needed a statement win in the worst way after the way that they lost games in Toronto and to Boston. And against the Spurs. Yesterday was an abomination. We talked about it. That's when you want to just bury and forget it happened. And tonight you go, okay, that was a complete win with an incomplete roster.
And the thing that stands out as well, a lot of the things, and I think back to Steven last night when I said, can you say anything positive about this game? And he had a lot of positive things to say. And this team leaned further into those positives. Obviously, you'd expect to win the possession battle, but they dominated the possession battle. They took care of business as far as that goes. They neutralized Brandon Ingram, who gave you a lot of problems last time. I think he had 34 in the first matchup.
Yes.
Had 6 points on 10 shots tonight. Jakob Poeltl, a guy who could be a difference maker. We talked a lot about how sometimes centers who are of that ilk gives this team trouble. No points, no rebounds. He had 2. That was the only stat he had was 2 assists in this game. He's basically club trillion in this game, 0 for 1 from the field. So thinking about that and what you're able to do in this game, I think is really impressive. The response to not only what happened last night, but the fact that this losing streak started against the Raptors, you really responded.
120 points for the Suns tonight on 52, 45, 100 shooting. They also had 12 steals and 6 blocks. I mean, this is about as close to as perfect of a game as you can play. Leading wire to wire, shot over 50, 40, 90, right? On a high volume. They shot 45% on 43 point attempts. That's almost half of their shots were from deep, and they shot 45%. I mean, this was the epitome of we needed that game, and to be honest with you, the pendulum definitely swung a little bit far in the other direction when it came to their shooting luck, but this is the type of win that hopefully they can carry a little momentum into in a very light week with Denver coming up as one of the only 2 games in the next 7 days.
I mean, when you look at it also, you win the rebounding battle by 13. You win the attempt battle tonight from the field by 15. You win the assist battle. You didn't win that one, but you won most of the areas where we go, okay, those are the things that are the margins, right? You go perfect from the free throw line after the god-awful performance you had last night from the charity stripe. I think there's a lot here, not just, hey, maybe you shot a little better than we can expect you to shoot. You did a lot of the other things that lead to easy baskets, and that's been a hallmark of what they've done so well all year, and they found it again tonight.
And you got the Raptors out of their game too, Espo. I think like you talk about a lot of those things that show in the numbers, and I think back to that technical foul that Jamal Shead had in the first half, and guys were frustrated. And this is a Raptors team who has had some similar issues as you, a lot of the lack of statement wins, and the win that they had against the Suns a few weeks ago, or I guess 10 days ago, was one of their first statement wins of the year. And I think that they are still trying to prove themselves in a lot of ways. And I think the Suns take advantage of this team who's still trying to figure things out, have their full complement of players, but they're around in the quarter trying to figure out what's right and stay out of the play-in tournament picture. So for you to take advantage of a team like that and recognize, look, it's now or never. There are 10 games left in the season after tonight. And also, hey guys, that's 40 wins on the season. The next milestone would be next win. It's not a losing season, and obviously 2 more wins away from having a winning season. So got to celebrate those wins as well.
The other thing too for me that stood out about this one is great first quarter.
Yes,
great defense again. Held them to 20 after holding the Bucks to 15. Then you get into that second quarter, and it starts to feel like it's very familiar to last night. That lead shrinks. The Raptors had 17 points about midway through the quarter. They almost had as many points midway through the quarter as they did in the entire first. And you go, is this happening again? And the Suns, I think, kind of realized that and said, no, we're going to step on their neck here. We're not going to allow this to turn into something like last night. We're going to make sure we build that back up before halftime so we can come out, kick the door in, and end it in the third.
Well, credit where credit is due. As soon as Toronto did get a little bit of momentum, Jordan Knott called an immediate timeout. There was no like, oh, let's let the guys play, let's figure it out. It was an immediate timeout, boom, and then the Suns came out and they were on it. You could tell that this was a team that was focused, energized, and ready to go, and that started at the top. It started with our dude of the night, presented by our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. I said in pregame that Devin Booker had to play like a max player, and that's exactly what he did tonight. Extraordinarily efficient night from number one. 31 minutes, 25 points, 9 of 15 from the field, 3 of 6 from deep, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, and how about a plus 32 in 31 minutes. Devin Booker came out and was just on one efficiency-wise, but you could tell that he maybe took it a little bit personal, that he had a bad game against the Bucks, probably felt responsible in that bad fourth quarter, and just left nothing to be in doubt with this one. Not his highest scoring game, but one of his most impactful of the season.
Yeah, he was looking at the man in the mirror, and he certainly was not happy with it. I know, we get frustrated. The larger we, the fans, and everybody gets frustrated with a game like last night. But Devin Booker's the type of player that if you're frustrated, I guarantee he's probably about 100 times more frustrated than you are about that kind of performance, because he knows he's better than that, and he tries to raise his game to that level. Didn't press tonight. I was a little worried he might press because of that and try to force his way into a better game. No, he played in rhythm tonight. That shot was just fantastic, and he was just efficient. I mean, you were talking about how the ball wasn't even hitting the net. It was just going straight through. Tonight, and that's why you're gonna have 25 in 31 minutes tonight.
He looks so comfortable out there, and it's just the small things. I remember last night, I mentioned from last night's game, the release looked a little off. The wrist, he wasn't popping the wrist, and those small changes and small tweaks. There were back-to-back possessions with threes, and there was like a tough layup that he had. It was these things where he was back in what we've been seeing from him through the earlier parts of March, basically up to the last few games. So to find that comfort again, it makes us feel much better about the state of his ankle. Didn't look like it was bothering him at all. No. As like last night, he looked like he was laboring, playing through something a little bit. And
I think winced a few times,
right? But tonight seemed like that was much better, much more comfortable from that. He distributed the ball as well. So the ball movement and the offense going through him and Jalen Green, both of those guys combining for 13 assists. That is, and again, I think the most important thing, and we've said it already a few times, this is the Raptors team who's going to be in the playoffs. This is the Raptors team who has expectations to maybe take a couple games off of somebody and advance in the playoffs. So it's not like he found his stride against a weak team or a team that's not known for their defense. For Devin Booker to have these moments and find these spots against this Raptors team should be very encouraging for what he's got left in the tank for the next 10 games, because that's the most important.
This is what superstars do, right? Your team has lost 5 games in a row. Right? Your team is in desperate need of a win. You are without Dillon Brooks, who's your second best player. You're without another starter in Royce O'Neal, and then another starter in Mark Williams, not to mention Grayson Allen and Haywood Highsmith also missed tonight's game. You're on the second night of a back-to-back. And yeah, if you go down the line, almost everybody had a good performance for the Suns tonight. From Jordan Goodwin to Colin Gillespie to Ryan Dunn to Jalen Green, everybody did. But a lot of that starts with all the attention that comes off Devin Booker. And last night, after the game, Jalen Green said, we need to play better off of Devin Booker. And I think the team understood that, yeah, this guy's the head of the snake. We need to be better at capitalizing. But you can only capitalize when your alpha, when your number one is in kill mode. And that is exactly what Devin Booker was in tonight. He knew the Suns needed a win, and he knew he had to be the best player on the court. And that is exactly what he was. Great stuff from Devin Booker.
Found the three-point shot again tonight too, which is such a key part when he gets rolling like this, and wasn't forcing it. They were in rhythm, hits 50% from deep, 3 of 6. It was just efficiency. When Booker is efficient like that, this team can be great. I mean, tonight they were great, given even the limitations in the roster. And I'm glad to see that when they looked at last night, they had that bounce back, because last night could have been that folding chair to the back that just kind of, it seemed to demoralize the fans. It could have easily done that to the locker room as well, and just went, well, you know what? We don't have these guys. We aren't that good right now. We're just going to have to wait and kind of see when these guys get back. And instead they were like, no, we're going to go out and do what we've done all year. We're going to punch back. And it was good to see, because it would be easy for a lesser team, last year's team, to just, have these losses, have these gut punches that you went through, and then lose to a team you had no business losing to, and just go, you know what? Been a good season. We've done enough. We surprised people, and no, they're not satisfied with that, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, great stuff from Devin Booker, but I think we got to talk about the pairing of him and Jalen Green plus Blue Collar Boy. Steven's going to call in. We're going to have some fun, because, man, we deserve it, on the PHNX Suns post-game show, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365 on the other side of our first break. Hey, speaking of our friends over at Bet365, where winning is everything, there's no better feeling than getting to leave early. Work, a boring party, a boring work party, you name it. Cutting out early is one of life's true joys, which is why Bet365 is running their exclusive early payout offer. If the team you're riding goes up 10 at any point in the game, they'll pay you out right there on the spot. Seriously, it's like the Irish goodbye of sportsbook promos. You would have immediately won in the first quarter tonight if you took Suns money line. And of course, the big one of that is the Siena and Duke game. And you bet on Siena, they had a 10-point lead going into halftime. You would have won big with Bet365. Right now, you open an account, bet $10, get $365. That's right, bet 10, get $365 with any new Bet365 account. Sign up, use code PHNX365, and check out Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the app today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in AZ. $10 minimum deposit required. Bonus bet wagers excluded from returns. New customers only. 21 plus only. Time limits, minimum odds, and terms and conditions apply. In-app only, void where prohibited.
I saw that Odin's birthday is today, and I gotta say, you know what? One of the things I love to do for my birthday is go get myself a scratcher from the Arizona lottery. It's a fun little thing to do, and Odin, as long as you're 21, you definitely can join me in this. And I recommend the triple games, because they triple your fun, and who doesn't want to do that? I mean, it's not fun to just have like one time the fun or two times the fun. You can have triple the fun. So why wouldn't you do it? And you can play 3 exciting triple theme games from the Arizona lottery. Play triple red sevens. I've won on that one. And then triple cash payout scratchers for the chance to win top prizes of up to $100,000. That's right, 6 figures you can win, and triple red sevens fast play, which I've won on as well. That has a progressive jackpot starting at $30,000. So you're gonna want to get in on this. Find all 3 tickets at a real retailer near you. Must be 21 and over to play.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for hanging out with us. The Phoenix Suns picked up a much-needed win, snapping a 5-game losing streak, their worst of the season, against the Toronto Raptors. We talked about Devin Booker being our dude of the night. I think deservedly so, but I don't know if you could talk about Devin Booker today without bringing up Jalen Green. Not the craziest night from Jalen Green. We've seen him hit more shots. We've seen him put up more points, but a very efficient and maybe the best passing night of his young son's career. 20 points in 30 minutes, 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of 5 from deep, 7 assists to only 2 turnovers. That 2 turnovers is really big. Only 3 rebounds, though, plus 15 on the night. Gil, Jalen Green was just great at picking his spots and effectively hitting his shots.
That's exactly how it felt, and he looked really comfortable out there. And you're seeing game after game his increased comfort. And Espo, I remember you said it at one point, he's learning where his guys are going to be. And we're seeing that with the playmaking and the assists. 7 assists tonight. There was a drive he had, and he knew exactly where he was going to find somebody to set them up. And there were a lot of shots that he had that were just in the flow of him flowing. Isolation, step back, where, he lost Grady Dick one time. He went step back in the right corner and hit a 3 where you talked about it, Eric. There's a short list of players in the league that can make the types of shots that Jalen Green was making tonight. So when you saw him and Devin Booker play off of one another, and you saw what he's doing in the first quarter, and I mentioned some of the growing pains that they are having and still trying to figure out how to pick their spots, they're going to be ups and downs. And I think tonight was one of those ups where I can see what they did tonight, especially thinking about the fact that it was only on 30 shots. It didn't require that much. This is a very replicable effort between those two guys because you can see that. And they did it against a really tough Raptors defense as well. So that is really impressive and very encouraging from these two because, look, they're rounding into shape. And the next big thing is getting everybody else when you reincorporate to play around them.
Yeah, the play that I brought that up with was when Jalen drove down, drew two, hit Oso underneath. And that was, we've seen it a handful of times this year, but he never quite got the pass right to Oso. Now I think they're starting to learn where each other are going to be. They're going to figure it out. This is the chemistry thing. When you haven't played as many games, these are the kind of things that you usually figure out in by late November. Right. Well, guess what? Now, in terms of games played, we're late November when it comes to Jalen Green, and the more he can figure out how to do that, hitting those passes, the better off that this team is going to be because it's going to feel more natural. And that's what tonight was. It was his most efficient and effective game in totality I think he's had since he's been here. And it wasn't, hey, I need to go drop 30 like we saw him in that first game, or 29 in that first game against the Clippers. This was, I'll pick my spots, I'm going to hit these shots, and I'm going to find the guys when I drive and I draw those extra defenders. And that's exactly what you need from him. That, especially on a night where Book has it going, that's exactly what you need for him to be that number two scorer and that guy that can help distribute the ball and take some of that pressure off.
I want to say something about the self-creation as well, because that's something that learning how to pick your spots is really important, because something we've said so much about this offense, it sputters when you get into late clock situations and guys are just trying to, like, what do we do? What do we do? You're kind of playing hot potato and guys are trying to set screens in bad spots, and then you don't really know what's going on. And I think Jalen's ability to pick his spots and say, okay, look, we are at 15-14 on the clock. It's time for me to create for myself so we won't get in that position and we can get it in the flow of the offense. I think that is the next step of him learning how to play with and off of other players, including Devin Booker, which you mentioned. So I think seeing that tonight in those spots, like the step backs from each corner, that's going to be big for him, because it's important to have a guy who can, look, it's breaking down, let me create something before it breaks all the way down. We saw it from Jalen Green tonight.
Yeah, I think the problem with Jalen has been so much in his career, obviously, is the inconsistency, but less so than that. Sometimes it's just been like the shot selection with him, and some people are wondering, and I think it's a valid question, like, what is Jalen Green going to look like when Dillon Brooks is back and Grayson Allen's in the lineup and Royce O'Neal is there? And I think tonight is a very good example of, I think it's actually going to help him a lot, right? Because don't get me wrong, he took some quote-unquote bad shots tonight. It's shots that when you say how many guys in the NBA can hit this shot, like the buzzer-beating corner three off the dribble, usually that means, hey, you just took a terrible shot and you made it, right? But Colin Gillespie had it going. Jordan Goodwin had it going. Rasheer Fleming and Ryan Dunn combined for over 20 points off the bench. Jalen was never forcing tonight. Those shots that he took that were extra difficult, a majority of those were at the end of the shot clock, like you were saying, Gil. And instead of being like, okay, there's enough time to get a playoff, it's, hey, I'm the only guy who can create a shot, which is something he's been elite at. If you watch the show over the summer, we showed you the numbers of Jalen Green being a 98th percentile shot creator. It's just the quality of shots that he was taking were not amazing. If he can continue to find a way to scale down and eliminate the fat, trim the fat on his shot diet, not take as many crazy shots, you're still going to get them, but attack the paint, spot up threes, and then bail out the Suns when they need somebody to create a difficult shot, especially if Dillon Brooks and Devin Booker are on the court. That's a perfect role from him. And I don't think he gets enough credit for kind of being, I don't say like an egoless guy, because all guys have egos, but this is a high pedigree guy. Somebody that Houston was trying to build their franchise over and then just got traded this summer. And I don't feel like he's in F you, I'm going to prove it mode. It feels like he is trying to fit in with the team. And this is a great example of him being able to do that and it being effective towards winning.
I actually think some of the issues is he's trying so hard to fit in with the team. And when Book was out, he was pressing. He felt like he owed it to everybody to go out there and score at a high volume and was taking a lot of shots that maybe weren't, in the flow of everything. And I think there is that inherent pressure with how much time he missed. Too, that it's like, we've got to microwave this now. I gotta figure out how to be it. Now tonight felt natural. Last night felt natural. I know that the Suns lost that game, but it was not a bad Jalen Green game. In fact, even the fourth quarter wasn't bad for Jalen. He was part of why they were still in it. So I think he's starting to find some comfort in all that. And I don't think he's ever going to be the guy that is fully cutting the fat. I think he's a guy that will make will have some questions.
He likes to hoop.
He'll have some questionable shots, and some nights they'll go in, other nights they won't. But what I love about his game is how effective he is with the handle, how he can break a guy down, and how he can find a shot or find the right pass. And he's getting more comfortable in using that rather than just kind of pulling up on a shot. He's breaking a guy down. He's finding the right pass, or he's breaking a guy down, stepping back and hitting that shot. And I enjoy that part of his game, which, let's be honest, nobody else really has that quite like that on this roster. So it's important, and it's an important key on what they're going to try to use.
A few things that come to mind when you break down Jalen like that. One, just how fortunate we are that we waited for so long for him to get back healthy and start trusting himself. And then there was setback after setback after setback for him to finally be out on the floor and figuring things out, and us to be able to talk about his performances, the good and bad. The second thing I'm thinking about is how he's found his rhythm and how it's now become somewhat of a running joke, but like something that we're acknowledging how well he's starting games. And from him going from that reserve role to starting in the game, it's almost like concerted effort. Okay, let's get Jalen going first because we need him. We need Jalen to feel comfortable. We need him to get into the flow of the game, and we're going to dictate the flow around his flow. So the good first quarters that he's having, the fact that they're going to him early and often in a lot of these games, and he's finding himself early on, I think that this team has found something success-wise to, okay, let's press this button first, get Jalen rolling, and people are going to fall in because we know what Book is and know that he has, 50, 55, 60 games of doing it with this roster and with this team. And I think that'll help once they start to bring guys back into the fold and understanding that, no, Jalen's not your first option, but he's the first guy you go to during the game.
Right.
So this is how it's going to go, and this is what we're going to eat off of and how we feed off of that. And I think that's big, too, because we saw a great first quarter from this team tonight, and Book was the one who kept it going. But, again, we're seeing them go to Jalen. Jalen scored first tonight. So that's a big thing, and I think that that's really important to kind of get the flow over the 48-minute span.
I think it's the identity forming. That's the benefit of having a really good head coach, somebody that I think we all believe is a really good head coach in rookie Jordan Knott, who's probably gone through some growing pains over these last 5 games with a limited roster, but understanding like, okay, this kind of naturally happened, right? I don't think it was immediately, hey, we're just going to look for Jalen and immediately get him going, but Jalen caught fire for a couple of games, and then Book was able to kind of close it. And with Book, he can kind of do it whenever. I know we're coming off of a poor Book stretch, and it feels like everybody's opinions flip-flop on him so easily, but he is one of the best scorers in the NBA. Even if you don't think he's one of the best guards, you could just say he's one of the best scorers, right? He can turn it on when he needs to. If Jalen Green is forcing early and not getting it, Book can force it early. Or if Jalen Green's hot the whole first quarter, that's fine. Book will come in for a second stint at the end of the half, and that's when he'll turn it on. Or he'll go in the third quarter, which has kind of been his role over the last couple of weeks. So the benefit of playing alongside a heady, unselfish scorer like Devin Booker's, I think it rubs off a little bit on Jalen Green. Not that this isn't who Jalen is and his own hard work and his own talent, but when you see a guy like Book who will defer to teammates when they're going and kind of find his roles and almost be like a supercharged role player at times, being a Jalen Green who's maybe now figuring more into that role a little more naturally, those two guys are seeming to play off of each other really well.
Yeah, definitely, and it can be very entertaining to watch. And Ashley says, Jalen's just fun to watch, and I think that's part of it. That is so good to have him as he brings that excitement factor in ways that Book doesn't. I think it's a unique pairing, and again, if they continue to figure out how it's not just you go, I go, and that they're both kind of involved and they understand how to work together, it can be a very fruitful pairing. Does it need to be more consistent? Yeah, but when you see them both being effective offensively, which we've seen throughout I think it's 18 games they've played together now, we've seen it throughout it. Now, there's been inconsistency. We understand that. But when it's on, this offense is really on. Then you pair that with how good the defense can be, which you saw Jordan Goodwin, Rasheer Fleming, Ryan Dunn tonight, just flying around defensively, even Kaman Malawach and Oso at times. You go, okay, when these two things come together, there's a danger to that for other teams. Will it come together? I don't know. But in the moments when you see it happen, like tonight, you go, all right, I understand that vision.
And I think what's important to remember along all this, because I think people are sick of like the injury excuses, right? Or just the context, if you don't want to call it excuses. But right now you're living and dying by Devin Booker and Jalen Green.
Yes.
Right? Kind of like what we expected them to be going into the season. But the reality is when Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams, Grayson Allen, and Haywood Highsmith is back, Jalen Green can have a little bit of a worse game. Or even like Devin Booker wasn't having the quintessential Devin Booker's going to go and score 30 points a night season when Jalen was out because he could rely on Dillon to kind of make up for those. When everybody is back, hopefully soon, or one or two of those guys are back, it is going to make it less imperative that these two guys are at their best at all times and maybe make up for those off nights where they're missing a couple of shots.
Less pressure, and I think right now it's really important for them to kind of operate as one. Espo, you mentioned the your turn, my turn situation and how it's been 18 or so games, and I think that we say this about young players a lot, and the same applies to a young duo as far as not in age, but in time spent playing together. The difference between thinking the game and playing the game. And I think that the whole your turn, my turn thing is thinking the game. Like, oh, well, it's been a while since Jalen's taken a shot. I probably should just take a step back on this play or this possession or the next few possessions. And I think that the further they go and the more reps they get together, they're just playing like, oh, I know when Jalen is in this spot, he wants it here. I know when Jalen is hitting like this, just keep feeding him, vice versa with Book. And I think that if they're operating like that, it will be easier for those other guys to come back and just play off of that and kind of operate that way. And when one of those guys don't have it, like you said, those guys will be able to step up, whether it's Haywood or Dillon or any of those guys, which is a good luxury to have. Got to get them back soon.
That's looking ahead, but back to tonight. We're going to name our blue-collar boy of the night. Our own blue-collar boy, Steven, is going to be calling in for the Mortgage Matchup Center. We're going to keep the good vibes rolling as the Suns dominate the Toronto Raptors in a wire-to-wire victory. We're going to keep it all going on the other side of our second break. We're going to keep it rolling like I'm always rolling in to Circle K. Look, now more than ever, you're going to want to save money on gas. So we tell you about the Inner Circle Fuel Days that save you 40 cents off per gallon all day. Those happen about once a month. Or, of course, if you're a member of the Inner Circle, you can save anywhere from 3 to 5 cents off per gallon. But what we don't talk about enough is kind of randomly, Circle K will just be like, here's 20 cents off a gallon. And that happened to me. Over the last 2 days, I went to go fill up my wife's car, and I type in my phone number, and I'm expecting my 5 cents off per gallon, which I'm very thankful for, and I see, congratulations, you're getting 20 cents off per gallon because you're a member of the Inner Circle.
And here's some hand sanitizer.
And some gloves, which I use to fill up, because Circle K cares about you, they care about me, they care about all of us, especially if you're a member of the Inner Circle, which you can join for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
So Gil was telling me earlier tonight that he has a passion for silk jackets, and actually that he wants to start a business selling silk jackets. I said, you know what, Gil? Our friends at Shopify can help you with that because they are here to make your dreams come true when it comes to e-commerce. And if you're thinking about your own starting your own business, you got to do it with Shopify because it is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. 10%. We even use it for the PHNX shop at gophnx.com, and you can get your nice shirts over there and hats like the one Eric's wearing. And Shopify's got you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email, social media marketing, and more. And they have the AI tools to help you out along the way. So if you're ready to sell, Gil, you're ready for Shopify. Turn that big business idea, those silk jackets, into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial starting today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity.
Cha-ching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about a player who is absolutely money tonight. Our blue collar boy of the night. This brings me an immense amount of joy, because I missed Ryan Dunn due to the night last night. I'm not missing Ryan Dunn, blue collar boy of the night. My guy is back. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 stocks, 3 steals, and a block for Ryan Dunn, including, you guys can tell me if you disagree, my personal love the play of the night, presented by our friends over at Arizona Lottery Play and Gift today. Ryan Dunn takes off from Tempe, flies after getting the steal and yams it home, or Ryan Dunn gets the putback dunk and then catches the ball underneath the rim after dunking it and flexes with it. The energy plays were there. The defense was there. Everything was there, including 2 of 4 from deep from Ryan Dunn, who feels like he's finally found his footing amidst all of these injuries.
Well, and it's impressive because it comes on the heels of being out of the rotation. Like, it looked like he may have been the odd man out if it weren't for the injuries, and instead he's taken advantage of the opportunity in front of him and has come out with the energy, with those putback dunks, with the rebounds, with, you know, some more successful shooting from deep. Not great, but better than he had been. And all of a sudden you go, that's the guy that we saw last year in a lot of ways. That's the guy that you saw with such potential, and he's kind of living up to it. And I actually think it's been beneficial for him to be out there with Rasheer. You got two forwards that can play some defense and do it well together. So
that block where Jamari goes up, Rasheer goes up, and Ryan goes up and swats it.
Yeah, you almost had Sheer and Ryan get that ball at exactly the same time.
Brought a tear to my eyes.
That's the vision too. I think it was last night's game when they both picked up somebody and the person who had the ball in their hand was like, what am I supposed to do? It's like I got Ryan Dunn, Rasheer Fleming in my view, and like, how am I supposed to do things? And the cool thing about the putback, it looked like, I said, you said he flexed. I think he flexed and then kissed the basketball too.
Yeah.
So, a little extra style points.
Randomly catching it too.
That's like very, I guess something if he tried to do it probably like 25 times, he might do it 3 or 4 times.
I don't think he did it on purpose.
No, not for sure.
I think it looked cool.
It looked super cool. And he's like, I'm going to kiss the basketball. I love basketball. And on a micro level, we've seen it 2 straight nights, him stringing together good possessions and good plays, making a defensive play, then running the floor and finishing, or making the right read. We saw him make some smart decisions in transition with the ball in his hands. We saw him knock down multiple shots. And then on a macro level, he's doing it on consecutive nights. So now he's stringing together good performances. And that's, again, kind of, we've been tapping the sign that growth is not linear for these players. We are not taking a victory lap because there's still more work to be done for him to be this consistently and raise that floor of what he's doing. But it takes performances like these and segments like these and strings of games like these for him to take steps in the right direction. And this is a type of player, the way he played the last 2 nights, I would trust him in a postseason rotation. So let's see more of it, Ryan.
Chachi phrasing. That's all
Espo, you said it's very interesting because this is coming off of him being out of the rotation. And I think when you go back, and I know people hate when I do this, but you go back to last year, right? And he's so up and down, in and out, put in for literally 5 seconds for one defensive possession. It was a really tough experience from him, but one thing that he never stopped doing was being himself, consistent energy, not being afraid to shoot the ball, not being afraid to bring that energy on defense specifically. You go to this season and he was out of the rotation, but let's be honest here, you look around and it's like, hey, we got a really good team. Right? So when I get my number called, I'll give them everything that I have. And now when his number is called even more, I think he's earned a look to be back in that main rotation. And he's not had a consistent role this year. He was starting, then he was off the bench, then he was out of the rotation. Now he's back in it. But he's never been afraid. He's never been afraid of the moment, and he's never been afraid to just be himself. And that is so important for a player who has the deficiencies that Ryan Dunn has, because the worst thing that could possibly happen is that he stops taking threes and then he doesn't go 2 of 4 tonight.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he looked like he was struggling with his confidence prior to kind of falling out of the rotation. And I wonder if that was just kind of a wake-up call where it was like, you know what? I just need to go out and play when I get the chance, and whatever is going to happen is going to happen. I don't envy Jordan Knott's task now because Rasheer Fleming deserves minutes. Haywood Highsmith is going to deserve minutes. Ryan is proving that he deserves minutes. You've got all these guys, and Dillon obviously is as well. You're going to have all these guys competing for a number of minutes, and maybe that's a way you can keep Haywood Highsmith's numbers in terms of minutes played down to help with that knee. But man, Ryan's making it a little bit more interesting on what this rotation looks like when you are healthy as you go into the playoffs. But now you got a lot of defensive options.
And I'll continue to tap the sign of saying that it's a great problem to have, first off, to have that many guys to choose from when you are healthy. But also, I don't think that Jordan Knott's afraid of going 10, 11 deep in a rotation. And again, conventional wisdom, the unwritten NBA rules or rules of postseason basketball say you can only play 7 or 8 guys in the postseason. But again, we saw in the finals 10, 11-man rotations, and it could be the hot hand in a defensive sense. Oh, who's feeling better? Who's got more rotation? Because these guys do a lot of the similar things, but in different manners. Oh, Haywood's got the shot going tonight. Oh, it's a better matchup for Ryan defensively. Oh, it's Rashir's type of matchup. It could be a mix and match. Could see them on the floor together. Could go with the defensive lineup against an offensive juggernaut. So if, again, getting the rest of the guys available, getting them to learn how to play off of one another. But the good thing about these players is they're very malleable and they really do play well off of other people. So I don't think that it'll be that difficult for them to play off of one another. I think it's just really important to kind of stress that last point. If Book and Jalen Green are figuring their thing out, everybody else will fall in, and that's where it goes to those rest of those 3-and-D guys.
Well, let's go deeper in our rotation and check in with our post-mortem with Steven. Checking in from the morgue as the Phoenix Suns finally and ironically showed some life, 120-98, taking down the Toronto Raptors. He's kind of like Beetlejuice, where you say blue collar boy 3 times and he just appears. It's Steven Prejean Gardner. Steven, what a big win for the Suns.
Definitely, needless to say, much needed, well overdue. And they just continue to show that they have the capabilities of responding. You rather this had been 2-4 road trip, come back home, and you immediately win those first 2 games in that back-to-back. And there certainly was opportunity to do that last night, needless to say. But this is a good win. This is a good step in the right direction in terms of getting back on track, getting back in alignment with the things that have made you a good team all season long.
Hey.
You get the offensive rebounds and the second chance points. You get the forced turnovers and the points off of said forced turnovers. You get the shot making from your 2 best players as well. That's a lot of the things you need in terms of your recipe for sustained success.
You know, it's been, 9 days since these 2 teams met, and holding this Raptors team to 98 points after them kind of dominating offensively and presenting a lot of issues. What'd you see on the defensive end from this Suns team tonight to hold Brandon Ingram to 6 points? Jakob Poeltl scoreless in this game, a non-factor. How did Phoenix make Toronto play on their terms?
Yeah, it always helps your defense when you put the ball in the basket.
It's true. It's true.
It starts there for sure, firstly and mostly. But then past just having your defense set because you're scoring, I start with Jordan Goodwin, even before I get to Goody. This is the 12th time the Suns have held the team under 100 points this season. And it's the 8th time since the new year that they've done that. That's a lot. That's not easy. And you look at the crop of teams that they've been up against in this new year stretch, speaks to what their defensive ceiling is. Now I get to Jordan Goodwin. The tone he set in this game is similar to the tone that the Suns can anticipate and expect when Dillon Brooks is in the starting lineup. That's a major compliment to Jordan Goodwin, considering he's conceding 3.5 to 4, maybe 5 inches of height to Dillon Brooks and a wingspan. I don't even know what that is, but that hits different too. But he just showed up. He gets the assignment of guarding Brandon Ingram, I think it was, to start the game, and he shuts his water off. Says any of these pin down, screening, and handoff variations that y'all love to get into, guess what? If you get in there, it's going to take a whole lot of work. It's going to feel like you're trying to chew through barbed wire to get to the ball. And then at that point, you've already exuded 10 to 12 seconds off the clock. So now what are you doing with no movement and the defense is already in the shell for you? So start with Jordan Goodwin there. He was on fire with the rotations that he was making and everything outside of Ingram defensively. And I think the other piece in that is also Iguodala is such a good defender. The help decisions continue to be even better on timing than they were last season. I think he's understanding how to defend without fouling, which naturally allows for him to play more minutes, which means more impact for him, which means that the team is better defensively because he's their best defensive big this season. And the other name I wanted to bring up in all of that as well continues to be both of the wings, honestly, Rasheed Fleming as well as Ryan Dunn. Those guys are finding some good defensive synergy with one another, and I'm sure we'll talk about Ryan a little bit more later, so I'll leave that one there.
When you look at last night and
nice
tonight,
shoes.
thank you. Like the book
I need
twos.
my sunglasses to be having a conversation
Here,
with you.
just
borrow
Nice
mine.
shoes, though. No.
I'll wear-
You put those back on. Sir.
Hey, everybody, this is what my eyes look like.
When you're sitting right next to me, I'll wear them again tomorrow, Steven, so I can really blind you with them.
I gotta pull the Eric then for sure.
Last night and tonight, which one is the real Phoenix Suns? Who are they compared to these two nights?
I mean, character-wise, you don't get to the number of wins and the place within the standings that they've sustained at without being this team that they were tonight more often than not. That's why I don't panic about games like last night, though we can fairly assess them for what they were in terms of not meeting the moment with what it needed from you. They've shown to be this team tonight more often than not. And I feel like because of that, even just character-wise, Espo, when you're assessing somebody, you base it less off of moments and more so off of the sustained level that you kind of bring to the table. And they brought this to the table more often than not. So I can't help but think they're anything less than what they've shown to be tonight. Now it's just about finding more ways to press that button and also get healthy.
I mean, the Suns got to win. Did you get a bucket hat?
I did not get a bucket hat, but I believe Buddha, shout out Buddha. I don't know if he's in the chat right now. I think he was at the game tonight. He said he got one for me in Discord, so we'll see about that.
All right.
We'll see.
I tweeted at the Suns asking for one for you, but I guess they didn't listen.
So. How dare they?
Why are you using Twitter like you don't have numbers that you can message directly? Man, get out of here acting like
it's more fun publicly shaming on Twitter.
Look,
I appreciate it.
Steven, the runway's getting a little shorter here for the end of the season, and Russell in a members super chat wants us to have a couple of predictions. Russell says, let me just squint here. Finally, we won. Time to go on a winning streak. Predict their final record, and also nice to see everyone step up and play well. Connor mode Tuesday. We need everyone back soon. Dillon, Mark, and more, though. So let's focus on the question here. 10 games left. The Phoenix Suns won their 40th game tonight. We'll go around the room, starting with you, Steven. What is their final win total?
Yeah, me and Gil recorded an audio-only episode that went up, I believe, Saturday morning. So if you haven't checked that out, please do so. I will stay aligned with that thought and process that we both shared. They had 13 games left at that point. We said they needed to get 7 of those. I'm sticking with that number. They got 1 tonight. They need to get to 7. So I will say they go 6-4 in the last 10 games.
So 46 wins. Espo, higher or lower?
45. They're going to go 5-5 the rest of the way, depending on how soon they get Dillon back. But I'm going to predict 5-5. They're going to get to 45 wins.
I think they go 6-4 as well. I think that last trip against two teams who will probably have their playoff seeding sewed up will help. So I think 46-36 is.
What if the Suns have it? They know they're 7th though.
I don't think given what's happened with them and how many guys are going to be integrating back in, I don't think that they take their foot off the gas.
Even though you also worry, you've got all these guys coming back from injury. Do you want to risk
them again?
Risk another injury.
We can cross
hoops.
That bridge when we get there. Just for posterity, Denver, Utah, Memphis, Orlando, Charlotte, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, Oklahoma City. If you beat the teams that are lower than you or to quote worse than you, that's 6 wins right there. So that really comes down to Denver, Houston, Los Angeles, Oklahoma City. I think they pick up at least one of those wins there, and they probably drop one. I'll go 6-4 as well. Maybe losing to an Orlando or a Charlotte, but picking up a big win over a Western Conference opponent. But a big win tonight, Steven. Obviously, we'll have a 3 p.m. show tomorrow with you back in studio where we can kind of pick apart a little bit more here. Any other things that we've missed that you'd like to shine a light on?
Hold on, Steven. Before we get to your final thought, don't you have something to say to Gil? Is there not something that needs to be addressed right here, right now, Steven?
I was just going to say, how about them Birds, Gil?
How about them, man? They earned it, man. The better team won today. If those of you who don't know, the Illinois State Redbirds went into Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and beat Wake Forest 78-75.
On a game-winning 3.
On a game-winning 3. Salute to the Redbirds. Hope they win it all now. They gotta go win it all now.
Yo, my question for you is, at that point in the game, why was your guy back off the screen? Because he was just, it felt like he was asking for that outcome.
My answer is that sadly that sums up how the season went.
Oh,
Basically,
man.
that sums up the
Oh,
season.
man.
Yeah.
My apologies, sir.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's
It's tough. It is tough. Exactly.
Just means more when it's in the NIT. I'll just tell you that
So it's
much.
about, man.
And listen, Illinois State ain't did too much in the NIT in the last handful of years, so this is a step in the right direction. They got my attention. Final thought for me though, Devin Booker and Jalen Green feels like this might have been their best game. I can't wait to go back and dive into the weeds on this one. But that third quarter, the decisiveness, the intent, the purpose, the quick decisions that they were making, they weren't letting Toronto off the hook for any mistakes that they made, but they were also going to take what it is that they wanted. And I feel like striking that accord in tandem with one another, it wasn't 6 minutes of Devin and then 6 minutes of Jalen. It was literally, you get a midi this possession, and you get a midi this possession, you come down court and you make up a scoop layup, Jalen, and then the next possession, Devin, you come down and you put pressure on the rim, and then you get an and one. Like, that's the kind of love and feel that you will hope to see from this tandem once they start to really get their feet underneath each other in terms of understanding how to play off of each other's attention. That was great. And then the last one I'll leave with, against Minnesota, the Suns had 42 rim attempts in their recent game against them. That was their season high by far. Tonight they had 32 attempts. That was their fourth highest number of the season. That's a lot of what you want to see, and that automatically comes directly from those two playing with that kind of love and feel and intent that I'm speaking to. So cool to do it one time. You have to do it again, because the best version of your offense is going to come from those guys playing with that type of foot on the gas type of impact.
Big time, Steven. Always great talking to you. We'll talk to you in person tomorrow as we lead up to Tuesday. Suns Nuggets, a chance to do it all over again. As always, you can follow Steven at StevenPG3. Check out his film sessions, 2 of them this week on our YouTube channel. So make sure you look at those, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.
Talk to y'all tomorrow.
All right, we're going to hit a break here. We'll come back. We'll read one of our super chats that we have. We'll put a bow on a very fun post-game show with a Phoenix Suns big fat W right on the other side of this. Look, sometimes life can get perilous, like a 5-game losing streak, or like an accident or a serious injury, and you always got to find the best lawyers to call, and that's why you've got to call Mark and Alexis Breyer, leading the husband and wife law team that brings hundreds of years of combined trial experience with multiple certified specialists in personal injury and wrongful death. And by the way, 100% dedicated to injury and wrongful death, experienced and specialized, and equipped with expertise to handle every aspect of your case. And of course, nobody can guarantee the outcome of a legal case, but they're happy to make you and all their clients other of guarantees. Like, you can cancel your fee agreement at any time for any reason. You'll receive at least as much in your pocket as they receive for their fee. And of course, you may speak to one of their lawyers as often as you choose about anything you'd like to discuss. So if you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841. That's 602-783-8841, or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them that PHNX sent you.
Well, we've heard you, and we know that you want Eric to lose the sunglasses, but guess what? If he did, Shady Rays would just give him a new pair, because whether you lose or you break your sunglasses, which we've all done, and my wife does on the regular basis, Shady Rays will replace those, no questions asked. What else can you get that will replace with no questions asked? My wife might be trying to do that with me after calling her out on her sunglasses, but you know what? You're going to want to do this, because Shady Rays, their quality is unbelievable. You'd think, hey, if they're willing to just replace them like that, they can't be that good. No, they are the best sunglasses that I have ever owned, and you're going to love them. They're polarized, and you're going to think it's fantastic when you get there, and they're durable. They're not stupidly expensive either. You're going to get great quality sunglasses at a price you love, and we're here to help you out even more, because when you go to shadyrays.com and use the promo code PHNXSR, you can get 40% off 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses with our friends at Shady Rays.
Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, become a diehard today as we lead up to the playoffs. 10 games, guys. 10 games left in the regular season. Can you believe it? Of course, everybody's eyes start to turn to the NBA playoffs, the play-in, and you want to be a diehard to get great exclusive content, access to our diehard Discord lounge, a free shirt, 20% off merch, 20% off paid events, and so much more just for being a diehard. Plus, you get that with Suns, but you also get that with every other, of course, sport that we cover here at PHNX as well. So go to PHNX.com/join to become a diehard today. Let's read our super chat here talking about our good friend Oso Ighodaro, and it comes from our good friend Richard. Richard asks, is Special Agent Oso the starting center next year?
I don't think so. I think that this team views him as an extremely important second piece in terms of your center rotation, and a versatile guy where maybe at some point you can have a dual big matchup with him if you have a big that can shoot as well. I look at him as the connector, as I don't care if the broadcast has said it. That comes from the Freckled Mamba. That is Ayrton's, copyrighted, trademarked, whatever you want. That is his, and I think that they are looking at that as being such an integral part of that second unit that he's probably the backup still, but a key piece to what this team does.
I would say a little stronger than I don't think so, maybe, and that depends on what happens with Mark's situation with the future. I think that Man is a year away from being the guy, so I think that Man opening night 2028 or 2027, sorry, what year is it? Opening night 2027 is your guy at the starting lineup. So maybe if the Mark situation, depending on what it is also the not stopgap, but the guy who kind of connects as far as being the guy
who what?
Connects.
Okay.
2026, 2027 being that starting
connector?
guy. The connector, okay. Some might say. And then when Man is ready to kind of step into that role that he was drafted to be, he stays and is the second unit guy, because what he's done, we haven't seen it in a while now with Mark being out, but how important he is for the second unit. I think that will be a big key to this team operating the way it wants to, as you said, Espo.
I think the answer is at times, like, he has started a decent amount of games, but him coming off of the bench is great. I think it's great for him. I think it's great for the team. He can handle the rock, and he can start when he needs to. And I think he's more likely long-term, if he's going to start at the power forward position next to maybe a Kaman Malawach that starts at center, even though Oso offensively would probably find his way somewhere around being that 5. Although I don't know, because he handles the ball a lot. Either way, he's going to be a very key piece. I don't think it really matters as much who's starting on this team. I think it just matters like who's on it and who's playing. And the best part is you have a ton of options.
Say something real quick.
Yeah.
About the Man also front court.
Yeah.
Man made a 3 today.
Man did make a 3. And actually, that's kind of what I want to wrap up here and talk about is, like, Oso did have a really good game tonight. Mm-hmm. I think just really solid defensively, even though he didn't put up a ton of points, but did have 7 rebounds and 3 blocks with a steal. But the rookies, I think, really stole the show on both sides of the ball. Rasheer Fleming and Kaman Malawach. We can talk about Kaman first. 7 points, 7 rebounds, and a steal, including 1 of 2 from deep and a plus 19 in 17 minutes. Significant minutes for Man tonight. Espo, he has just become a very solid piece for them.
Yes, they took a calculated risk when they traded Nick Richards, because you knew you were one Mark Williams injury away from Kaman Malawach having to play decent backup minutes for this team, and it's starting to pay off. Now, there's still some defensive rotation things that he gets caught in no man's land, and hopefully that will clean up along the way. I think it's also because he's getting thrown in a lot of lineups with guys he hasn't played with. So I don't know what the communication is like on defense, but you notice that a little bit. But he's been aggressive on the boards. We're starting to see him box out with more authority, that kind of stuff, grab those boards. We're starting to see him find a rhythm a little bit offensively. And really, all you want for him this first year is to be a net positive when he's out on the court, not a net negative and making massive mistakes that cost you. Just somebody that can go out there when Oso needs a breather and do enough that it doesn't hurt you and helps you just a little bit, right? And if you get more than that, big win. But he's continuing to show that he deserves the minutes that he's getting. Now, if Mark comes back. I'm still not 100% convinced that he's going to come back. If Mark comes back, I'm guessing his are the minutes that will get cut significantly out of this rotation, but he's proven he can hold his own. And if foul trouble happens in the play-in or playoffs, you can turn to him and hopefully he can give you 10 minutes that are going to be enough to keep you in a game.
What's been most encouraging to me is the rate with which he's growing. It's rapid.
Yes.
It's what we expected because, again, the game is so fresh to him and he's playing at such a high level in the NBA. It's pretty wild for somebody who's only been playing the game for like 6 years to be playing against the best players in the world. But you see it in moments. Like there was the hook shot. His only other field goal aside from the three-pointer that he made, it kind of looked awkward, but he had to touch on it and the bounce on it. It's like somebody that's very gifted and talented and supposed to be doing this finds a way to make it happen. The confidence with, we talked about a while, it seemed like it had been a while since we saw him attempt a three-pointer, but the touch, like that's going to be a big swing skill for him. And I mentioned that with Oso being potentially a starting four. If you're going to have a front court like that at some point or trust him to play minutes together, one of the two has to be able to space the floor. And he's showing the ability to do that as well. The rotations are a big thing, and that's a correctable issue, but that's something that I think he will improve upon and learn about with more reps, with more film, and just being a sponge, which he's shown to be up to this point in his career. So everything that you could look at as a detraction or anything from how he's played, you can also say, well, he's shown us enough that we should be confident that he's going to fix it. He might not fix it in the next 10 games, but about 10 months from now, when we're sitting here talking about him playing heavy minutes and being very impactful, I think that he is on the right trajectory to turn a corner, and we're going to see a pretty rapid jump to being an impactful player in the league that they expect him to be when they got him.
Not as rapid of a jump as we've seen from Rasheer Fleming. My Lord, he is absolutely hooping. 11 points tonight, 7 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds, 2 of 5 from deep. In 29 minutes, he was a plus 18. Also 2 steals and a block, locking up Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram. It is really hard not to watch Rasheer Fleming and just think to yourself, wow, the Phoenix Suns starting power forward for the next 10 years was drafted in the second round in last year's draft.
Yeah, I mean, when they traded up to get him with the first pick in the second round, you knew that they believed in what he had. I mean, they found a way to essentially move heaven and earth to get back up in there and get that 31st pick to take him. And people were saying he had middle of the first round kind of talent.
I was one of those people.
I would have been shocked if he was there at like 22.
I thought he'd be gone by 25 at the latest.
So this may turn out to be one of the biggest steals in this draft, and he has the skill set. Unlike Kaman, where you knew it was a bit of a project, you knew at 10 it was a little early, but you had to take the potential, right? You look at it and you go, what this guy could be. But when you looked at Rasheer, you go, what this guy is. And yes, he'll develop more, but right now he can hit that three. He can defend at a high level. He has all the measurables to be effective. And now he's getting the opportunity and he's making the most of it and showing, yeah, you had the right faith in me because I'm going to come out here and I'm going to have an impact. Now, obviously, he's got to figure out how to cut down on the fouls, not leave his feet. That's been a big thing over the last handful of games, leaving his feet rather than staying and just straight up. But those are all rookie things. Yeah. Those are all things that come with time.
Rookie mistakes that came against, when I think about it, De'Aaron Fox and Brandon Ingram, 2 All-Stars.
Also, De'Aaron Fox in the fourth quarter, which is more like an MVP.
Right. A former clutch player of the year. The first ever clutch player of the year winner. So I think that what I'm seeing from Rasheer is a lot of the small wins we were talking about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and saying he's looking confident doing things. He's finally put it all together. And you mentioned it being a big rapid jump for him. And I think that it makes sense given him being a little bit older, him having played the game longer, and also the skills and tools that he has, kind of recognizing how to use them in his favor. And I think, again, the confidence and seeing examples of guys doing what he's done and guys who've made careers of doing what he can do at an even better level. So I think that's really exciting because he has been the perfect understudy for a lot of guys who in 2 or 3 years' time, he can be a much better version of what the Suns already have in this locker room. And as we know now, that's a key to this team playing the way they want us to play.
Career high 29 minutes for Rasheer Fleming tonight. Now, of course, a big part of that was by the end of the game, it was pretty much over, and the Suns kind of let the bench ride, and they don't have a lot of other guys to play. But, I mean, still 29 minutes, and I'm about 18 to 20 of those highly impactful and still meaningful moments. It's so much fun to watch him. He also fits the identity of this team so well, crashing the offensive glass. And if you watch his tape at St. Joe's, I mean, a lot of self-creation for him there, a lot of post moves, and his three-point shot is so smooth and so consistent. Over his last 3 games, he's 2 of 5 from deep. That's 40%. The game before that, he was 2 of 4, then 0 of 1, then 3 of 3. 2 games where he didn't hit one, but then 4 of 6, 2 of 4, 1 of 2, 2 of 3. Basically, in the entire month of March, he's shot at least 40% from 3, except for 3 games where he only took 1 and he didn't hit it. That is consistency, right? This is not a moment from Rasheer Fleming. This is consistent play. He, unlike maybe a Kaman Malawach and maybe a Ryan Dunn, I feel like has a certified spot in the rotation when everybody's back and healthy. Obviously a little bit more diminished, but there's nobody else on this roster that right here, right now, can bring what Rasheer Fleming brings.
No, and that's what you penciled in when you drafted him, was that you would get that. And he's weirdly stoic.
Yes.
Like, you just don't see much. I don't know if emotion's the right. I mean, yeah, emotion, like expression. It's just like, I'm locked in. I'm going out there and doing it, and I'm gonna be effective at it. I mean, I'm not gonna compare his game yet to Kawhi, but the approach that just kind of stone faced. I'm
even
going out
killed,
there.
even
Yeah.
killed.
I mean, when he dunked on Carter Bryant, stone faced. Nothing there. And also, this is coming off of the heels of a pretty big, bad moment for him in the spotlight, missing those 2 free throws, and then coming out and just having good games still, hitting threes, not being afraid to attack and drive the rim, which we saw him do over the last couple of games.
Some people forget that Kawhi Leonard missed free throws before Ray Allen made that big shot. So.
Wow.
Origins.
Literally.
Yeah. I mean, same level of pressure.
Yeah, you know.
So
Ryan Dunn actually talked about playing next to Kaman Malawach and Rasheer Fleming. Hayden Siley put this out there. Hayden does really good work. Quote, "I love it. Playing with those two, they give a lot of life and youthful life. They stepped up a lot from the start of the season till now. Man, he's coming in here confident, talking a lot, shooting. You have the size and athleticism. I think it's kind of scary, me and him on the floor together defensively. I think we can grow and get better through our careers here."
What you love to hear.
Yeah.
What you love to hear.
And you saw those flashes of those guys. And Ryan and Kaman have been checking in at the same time. And I know that we won a kind of flush last game, but when Milwaukee had like a 5-minute streak without a field goal scored yesterday, it was right after Ryan Dunn and Kaman Malawach checked in. And so you have those two, again, a second-year player and a rookie, Rasheer Fleming and Oso Ighodaro. All of them, I think, are net positives on defense already. And a lot of them are growing offensively too. That is a scary little core of the last 4 draft picks. All they have to do is hit free throws, which Kaman did tonight.
I mean, and then imagine a lineup where you go Highsmith, Fleming, Dunn.
Yeah, I think they did that.
They may have before Highsmith got injured, but like there's a defensive unit that you could put out there that could be really scary. Those guys at Jordan Goodwin and Oso Ighodaro, all of a sudden you're like, okay, we can shut people down too if we need to go to that group as well. So a lot of options here, and Fleming and Malawach actually kind of finding their footing has changed the equation in just how deep this roster is.
Against Charlotte, it was Booker, Highsmith, Dunn, Fleming, Malawach. In a big game.
Yeah.
National TV.
And one that they won in impressive fashion.
Kept Charlotte under 100 points. Gentlemen, we will be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock to thankfully talk about a win and maybe look forward a little more hopefully after that 5-game losing streak. But your final thoughts on tonight's game, a much-needed win against the Raptors.
You showed who you can be. Now you got to go out and prove that's who you are over the next week. I mean, granted, it's 2 games, but it's going to feel like a lifetime between these games after what we just had 5 and 7 nights. But go out there, hold your own against Denver. If you play well enough, you'll get that win, but hold your own at least. Give me another quality performance.
Overarching thought is finally take a deep breath and then spinning it forward. Prepare for Tuesday like a playoff game. It should feel like a playoff game. It'll be in front of a national TV audience. It's a tough test against the best player in the world, according to many, and they would not be wrong, depending on your preference. And you have an opportunity to prove yourself against a better opponent. So it's great momentum into that, and I'll prepare for it the rest of the way.
I think looking at these last 10 games, it's so important to kind of keep that perspective. I know that it's been a very emotional 5-game losing streak, and I felt all of those emotions very much. Even yesterday when they lost, I was not a happy camper, right? But 10 games left in the season, this team has won 40 games. There's a chance that they're relatively healthy going into the play-in and the playoffs, and I still stand by what I wrote last week, which is do not give up on this team. I know that there was a really ill-timed worst losing streak of the season, but I really believe that this team can do something special and have some fun when we get to the playoffs. And at the end of the day, 40 wins, you're playing with house money a little bit. Let's go out there in these last 10, stick to your identity, maybe pick up some wins that nobody expected. And I think tonight was one of those wins, and you got it thanks to everybody, but it started at the top. That's the recipe.
Get healthy, stay in the 7th seed. I don't mind the Spurs matchup.
Spurs or Lakers would be a very interesting one, but we will have to talk about that another day. In the meantime, you can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. It's on Twitter and on Instagram. Shout out to Freckled Mamba behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen and trademarking nicknames as always. You can follow him at Freckled Mamba. You can follow Espo at Espo. Catch him on Southwest Bias tomorrow morning. You can follow Gil at Gil McGregor _. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY, and I'll be celebrating a 16-year anniversary today. Well, it's the 16-year anniversary of Amari Stoudemire posterizing Anthony Tolliver. We'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Ahoy.
We all silly like the mayor.